Well, if you can't be on time, be early, because now you're late.
That's my fault, everyone. Right, here we go.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Welcome, mate.
Cheers.
Mate, the chat's popping off already.
I know, it's been a long time since we've done live. New house.
It feels like a long time.
Yeah, it's been
Actually wasn't. It just feels like a long time, you know. Oh my god. Right.
Mondo, what's up, dude? Everyone's got the gold badges now.
All on it, mate. Black and gold,
gold
baby.
THG badges, which is as high as
Bulldozer, Brooksy.
Modelo's, elite as fuck, THG members only. Yes, thank you very much.
Excellent.
So we'll let a few people jump in. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. We know it's been a while. Hope you've all got a drink of choice. I'm standing.
Or at least a bottle of bleach.
A bottle of bleach would be fine. Definitely do some of these a favour.
Yeah.
SEO's in the house as well, so they can hear us be as brutal as ever.
Yes. Terry, Mikey, what's happening, boys? Good to have you along.
Sam Brooks. Sorry, mate. Did you like the hot tub move? Absolutely,
mate. Sam, how funny, mate. I was actually going to message you back today. I know I'm a bit late, but I just ran out of time, mate. It looked incredible. Actually, I can think of 1,001 ways to use a pickup truck. That wasn't one of them.
Mate, it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Black Mountain, what's up, boys? SEO, Winks, Mondo, PK, all the boys in. It's kicking. So, yeah. Firstly, thank you to everyone for sticking it out. We've not been kicking around for a little while. We've been very busy in the back end. Don't you worry. There's a change coming.
Yeah, the winds of change. The winds of change. Yeah, definitely, man. I know, obviously, Tim's got a different background. Ta-da! All new. So I know Tim's been super busy, but still dipping his toe in here and there. But yeah, super busy behind the scenes. So it's been not quiet, but you know, we've just been focusing on projects behind the scenes. Which a few of these, you know, I've touched on. Anyone that's seen the stories over on YouTube, obviously, as most of you know, ditch the Instagram. So most of the stories and stuff. So do keep an eye on the YouTube stories and Facebook stories, because that's where a lot of the info and stuff goes up now. So yeah, if you've been watching that, new stuff going on, new kits arriving, which we're always excited about.
Loads of new kit for you and me.
Yeah.
The motors, super hyped about them. Obviously, we've leaked them a little bit as to you know, a completely new setup from that regard. Both of us managed to squeeze in an event as well, which was pretty surprising.
Yeah.
It was literally last minute, like, was organising, getting to the event like the Friday night, which was a little bit touch and go. So massive thank you to the SEO guys for accommodating. I did nearly not get into the event. And this is fact, that I pulled up and the guy went, "Yeah, you're not on the list." And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, tried to explain it, try and be casual. He went, "Yeah, but you're not on the list." And I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, please." Luckily, thank you, Mikey, for jumping in the car and giving me the VIP entrance. Otherwise, I would have been stuck outside crying, trying to get onto the site because the guy won't get fit.
Yeah, but it's good though, right? Because obviously it just means that, because you know, you've all seen it. You turn up to a site and yeah, just go over there, boys. Yeah, go over there. Do you know what I mean? But it's good because obviously it means if your name's not down, you're not coming in. Exactly. So yeah, efficient on that side. That was good. That was good. Mr. Wilson, what's happening? Jace, yes, Bravo section in here in force. So I don't know. Should we jump straight in or what? Or are we doing pre-drinks? What's going on?
Right, I'm going with the flat.
So yeah, obviously Tim was mega busy, as he has been with his personal life. You know, running 3 helicopter companies and 2 brothels. It's a full-time job. So obviously Tim wasn't down on the Friday night. But obviously I did. Obviously I know there was a few guys, obviously like John from Gravy Seals and his boys. They had a mega long drive, you know, So they were down on the Friday night again. Robson was down on the Friday night with Jordan. Sorry, Jay. So yeah, it was not. I wanted to get down the Friday night, if nothing else, because it's a lot of those guys I haven't seen in a long time. A lot of those guys we played with on Xbox and spoke to, but never met up with. So I was super keen to get down on the Friday night. Got the Friday night quite late. I think 8, half 8, something like that. Managed to get the Palace de Ricci set up pretty quick. It was quite. I did get some looks. I'm not gonna lie. You got. Got guys putting bashes between cars. Do you know what I mean? Like all like limp and bellowed between two motors, like laying on a piece of thin foam. There's me just opening out my tent on a memory foam mattress. But yeah, it was good. It was good. Obviously, Friday night was nice and relaxed. Got set up. Got camp set up. The boys already had the barbecue on the go. The biggest fire pit I've ever seen in my life. It was about 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters.
I didn't see that fire pit. I thought,
mate, there were steaks.
Sort of thing that Kanye West would have on his patio.
Yeah, definitely. It was just some LEDs missing. But yeah, there were steaks on the go, sausages, burgers, all sorts, ribs. But obviously, more importantly, it was nice. Obviously, as soon as I pulled up, ton of faces I recognised. I mean, Houghton lads. I think the guys from Rag were there. Tom from Dragar Airsoft Drums, he was there. So yeah, it was cool, man. It was cool just to catch up with some people, shoot the shit, have a beer, have some good food. Yeah, it was nice.
I'm glad. I know obviously a few of the guys had to bump about a little bit on the Friday evening. I was quite fortunate. Obviously, got a good night's sleep and got up and headed down. Got on site at about 8:30. And there was still, people turning up in the car park. There was a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of people moving about. But I think outside of just struggling to get in, the organisation was bang on. Got stuck in pretty much next to you and the rest of the guys, and got the kit out and started getting set up. I think from the morning's perspective, it went pretty smooth in regards of getting people chronoed. I mean, that was easy enough, right? Normally, that's always a little bit of a dick ache, but that was pretty swift. Apart from the guy not being able to hold the chrono in front of the barrel, which was a little bit awkward. I was like, I said, mate, can you move it a bit? He went, no, you're right. I was like, nah, bro, I'm not. The whole thing, my barrel's back there. I was like, I said, just give it here, mate. I'll do it. It's all right. So that was pretty decent. But the kind of onboarding in the morning was pretty simple and pretty swift. So that was definitely a touch.
Yeah, I think it was. The morning was pretty smooth, pretty flawless. Obviously, the site, the guys had to do their site brief. So it was held at Imperium Airsoft down here in Kent. For those that don't know where it is, so they did a sort of an overall brief of the site, usual rules, etc. Obviously, talked about the vehicles that are going to be in play all weekend. So I think they had 2 tanks, 2 Unimogs, and I think that's it. Is that right? Or is there any more? Can't remember. Anyway, so you've got some big, heavy, very dangerous vehicles. So they had to go into the brief quite a bit on that, which is fine. Obviously, they handed over to the SEO lads. As always, Terry kept the brief short, sweet, and idiot-proof, which is always nice to hear.
I think that was probably a bit of a standout for me, because I think the original brief was just a bit strung out. There's too many jokes and comedy. I'm a bit old and I'm a bit dry, and I don't want the Sunday skirmish sort of narrative of silly dick jokes and stuff. I'm it's a safety brief. I want to get it over as quickly as possible. Make sure that I'm informed enough not to hurt myself, but at the same time, I don't need all the fucking teenager spiel. And that's why I really like the approach that Terry had, because it was really to the point. It was super succinct, but there wasn't the amicable dick jokes.
It's like when you turn up, right, and you to a briefing, and it basically is. It feels like you turn up. You're watching a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Trying to crack jokes left, right, and centre. When just tell me what I need to know with a minimum amount of fuss. so I can get on with my weekend that I paid, you know, a lot of money for. But yeah, so that was cool. That was all sorted. So that was a brief out of the way. We obviously then went off. I think we had a fair bit of time, right, between safety brief and game brief.
Yeah, I think that's because we were pretty much left till last in regards of the way that all the teams were organised in what we were told what to do. And I think some of the teams got out before us out onto the ground. Some of the other sections. I think for us, you know, our first sort of op was one laced with pyro and excitement, which was pretty cool. They didn't really hang about. I must admit there is. And quite a few people have mentioned this to me, and I think it's quite an important point, is that a lot of milsims, I say milsims, I'm going to say that word really loosely, other people that provide these weekend events, they're very slow to get started. It's like, go out and do a patrol, or set up a cordon, go and do hearts and minds.
Hearts and minds, that's it.
Some flat bullshit, and we've all done it. We all know it's fucking, you know, it's a spinning task. It's just something to get everyone's legs moving.
I remember my disappointment, mate, when they said, you know, for the first section of the game, tag rounds aren't allowed to be used. I remember with the most anger and frustration, unclipping my 320 off my hip from the QLS like that. I guess I'll put that back then and put my pistol on, Alice.
I remember you swapping out and seeing the QLS come off, and I was like, uh-oh, I'm not going to go over there because I'm going to get one of them off.
But that didn't last long, did it?
No, it did not. I kind of get it, and I kind of get they didn't want to get deep into that straight away. But just to you know, kind of reinforce where I was at, you know, a lot of them start really slow. They're kind of like G'ing people up. This went straight into the fucking deep end, and I was super excited by that. We got out. I literally had got you know, out the back of the vehicle. We're taking rounds. Lots of contact was coming in. Obviously, the explosion had happened, and pushed into a berm with me and John, and just getting decked, mate. There was rounds coming in. I actually feel bad, John. I'm really sorry. This was on my back, so I will mail it to you. I promise.
Stop thief.
I know. So they were our medic plans, and I just ran straight into this bone, started getting rounds down with rounds coming in, and I think I got clipped at some point. But yeah, it was super good.
Yeah.
It was just
so
like,
just to quickly obviously set the narrative then for the game. So there was maybe 6 sections. You know. I think about 6 sections. There was sort of 5 main sections. Then you had some sort of, you know, close air support sections, a JTAC element, whatever. Within each section, which I thought was really cool, you basically had every section had specific role, and we've seen it time and time again. Oh, you know, I'm going to play support, I'm going to play medic, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But do you know what? The guys at SEO, and obviously like I'm going to say Black Mountain because it's Liam, Sam, and that lot. You know, they really did make sure that your role was your role, like 1,000%. That was it. That's all you did, nothing else. So, you know, we had obviously I was RO, of course. We had Robson was breacher, and wow, he had bolt cutters. He had a sledge on him. You know, obviously we had an SSE guy. You know, I think it was Spencer was our SSE guy. So he made sure he had zip tie bags, marker pens, everything. So whatever we went into, if we needed to collect evidence, that was his job. And each section did this, which I thought was really good, because that makes sure that, you know, everyone's got the job, they know what they're doing. There's none of this. Have you got a bag? I need a marker pen. I need to write this. Who's got a camera? So yeah, no, it was good. It was good. So in that case, in that sort of scenario, you know, as soon as you boots hit the ground, everyone should know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Don't be wrong. Like the first, like you say, like as Tim said, rounds were flying. As soon as we hit the floor, that was it, mate. Like it was on top. I remember just getting off the back of the APC, looking around. There's a helo with like smoke coming out of it. There's 3 bodies laid around it. 2 of them were covered in blood. And I was like, oh my God. What? And then obviously I've got you screaming to my left, because obviously you was in the first wagon. I've got it all coming over comms. All call signs are taking contact. Like there's tag rounds like whiz over the top. I was like, this is gnarly, bro. Yeah, so it was good. It was good because, like I say, you can so easily step into a really soft event, go out, do a little patrol, come back, and by 1 o'clock you're like, all right,
yeah.
But yeah, it was cool, right? It was really cool. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? It's quite funny because obviously we were talking about the roles, and I rocked up a little bit late and a little bit kind of misrepresented. And early in the morning, obviously I knew that there'd been some like stuff planned, and was pretty aware of that. And then I kind of got this impression from Terry that there was some kind of EOD stuff to do, and I was like, okay. So originally, I think he said to Jordan about, go on, do you want to go as EOD? And I was like, yeah, you do it, because I was pretty aware there's some cool stuff happening. And then he went, nah, I don't want to. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. He was like, so Terry's looking because he knows obviously there's some pieces in here that are going to be EOD based. And he was like, you do it. And I was like, oh, fuck. But yeah, so I rolled in as EOD, which was pretty cool. We can talk about that a bit further on. But first contact was great. Really did get stuck in. I couldn't really say what the hit taking was like on both sides. I know I was putting rounds out and people were calling hit, but because of the medic rule, if you've got a medic next to you, for example, like I had John next to me a couple of times over the weekend, I literally went hit, and by the time I'd done that, I got this little on the bum, and I was ready to go. And I was like, thanks, John. So I ended up literally laced in medic tabs over the weekend. So in that case, it's quite hard because you could put rounds on someone, they could literally bounce down and then be back in again as quick as that if you've got obviously that medic next to you. So yeah. But overall, that first engagement for me really got the blood going. There was no, like I say, stand about and wait. And yeah, it felt like really dynamic as well. Like you could kind of feel those flat force on force things. They were wrapping around us. We had guys using high ground. We had LMGs. You could hear the snipers whistling by. Like it was really kind of a real mixed bag of what was happening on the ground. And then all of a sudden we had pyro start coming over into the bunkers that we were in, and pyro being thrown all over the place. So it was really quite an engaging first contact that really left everyone a bit buzzed. So yeah, super enjoyed it. Give
me 2 seconds, mate. My audio's gone.
Uh-oh. Can everyone else hear us okay?
Is this working?
Yeah, I can hear you. Perfect.
I don't know if we're back on or not.
We are. You're good. I can hear you.
Right, okay. So you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Awesome.
Oh, okay. Let's see if anyone else can hear me.
Right, mate, I'm going to bounce out. I'll be right back.
Okie dokie. Okay, so everyone can hear me. Fantastic. Thanks, guys. So I think, you know, at that point, you know, so early on in the day, I was really pumped for what the rest of the weekend was going to be like. And again, rocking up a little bit last minute. Not that I ever suggest this to anyone, but I did kind of, I went into like that mode of like, I know what I need to take from like an overall perspective. But I did haphazardly sort of pack, and I think that was the only thing I was a little bit paranoid about, is that like Friday night I'd done a little bit of prep during the week. Also had new plate carrier, new bag, running, you know, just newer kit. There was just a last minute bit of a dash. So when I got there, I was like making sure, like triple checking that I had stuff on me that I needed for the weekend. We knew we were going to need tags. Obviously I took the shoulder mounted launcher from Blackgate as well, so I had that on me. I ended up taking a lot of equipment, and then you're just kind of rechecking everything. Obviously anyone that runs tags knows you need a spare for everything and tools. So by the time I got out of the ground, I'd relaxed, felt more comfortable, got some engagements down, got in a wicked pair up with John. Me and John actually
because you were
shooting together this weekend. It was good.
Yeah, because you boys were right up at the front. So because you were in that first wagon that basically bumped off. I remember getting off the APC, getting off the tank, looking round. Obviously, you got the helo, you got the 3 dead guys there, or sorry, 1 dead. It was 1 KAI, 2 that needed medical attention. And I remember looking around trying to find you, because obviously, like, I was like, "Where's Tim? I need Tim." Always 2 in pairs.
Always 2 there are.
Always 2 there are. but I remember, but you were off over the berm. I remember calling you, and you was like, "Yeah, I'm here." I was like, "Boom, yeah, there he is." Right, cool. But yeah, it was really nice, mate, to see, you know, Bravo debust. Obviously, all the other call signs already pushed past the helo, set up a bit of a loose cordon. It was a bit straggly, but you know, it was chaos. It really was. We were getting rounds coming in from everywhere. Obviously, speaking to the TL, obviously we're getting comms from Zero. I'm on the radio. My TL was to my right. I'm giving feedback on the crash site to Zero, which is the command net. So they're right. Okay, so we need to basically get the dead body in a body bag, which obviously two of our guys did. Got in the body bag, hoofed him up in the truck. Right, okay. Then as I look around, you've got I can't remember what call sign it was, but there was a guy actually checking this guy over who needed medical attention. There's like blood all over him and stuff, and it's really cool. But yeah, he was like taking his plate carrier off, checking vitals and stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then what happened? Oh my god! Then then I went to basically turn around to the TL and give him a feedback on what's happened to the helo. Swallowed the biggest fly I've ever felt in my life.
You told me about this over the radio, and I was dying.
Mate, I went. I went. Oh, it was in. But you know, like a bacon rind, right? When it won't go up and it won't go down. It was that. Mate, I was choking so hard, right? I've gone sicked up, and literally, mate, all on the floor, it's bright red, and I've literally looked and thought, I'm fucking dying. But mate, and I remember Jace come over, put his arm around me, and his face, mate, was like that. Richie, you okay? And I was like, I've swallowed a fly, but why is it red? Why am I bleeding from the inside? Mate, it was hilarious. It turns out I threw it so. I
was about to say, do you know what's funny? Is when you said my stick was red, and then all I remember is walking around to the back of the truck and seeing you sat there eating a packet of chorizo, and you're like, "Do you want some chorizo?" And I was like, "No, I'm actually all right." One thing I just wanted to touch on, mate, that for me was a little bit unsuspecting as well. When I was checking the weather for the whole weekend, it was looking like it was going to be wet all weekend.
Yeah.
I literally checked it the night before and packed like my whoopee, packed my level 7, packed a load of other stuff. And we got there and was stood during the briefing, and I was dripping. It was so hot. I mean, it was a really, really hot day, which for airsofters normally means that people are going to get really salty really quick, dehydrate, drink nothing but Red Bull and Monster and all that lot at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And it's normally a bit of a sign for like a tough day for people out on the ground. So I think when we got to that first engagement, even at that point, I was like, fucking,
yeah, sweating, mate.
Dripping, absolutely dripping. So really warm day for a lot of people as well. Beautiful weather, nice and still, very little bit of breeze, you know, tiny bit of breeze cutting across the site. And as you'll see some of the photos we put up later, looked at the site, the colours, just the feel of the environment really was awesome. It's a really cool site that they've got there. So it was good. It was
like I say, you had that bit of greenery because it's summer. You got some nice sort of thick shrubbery around, but it's still quite dusty on the main tracks. But yeah, it was cool. And I just remember, like, obviously, like pushing to the front with you, and I was like, right, let's get amongst it. And then literally, I remember getting up, coming to that little dip, that crater that you and John were in, and I remember just seeing John just going, just giving out grenades like they were free, mate. Do you know what I mean? And I remember coming up because obviously I've got that massive, like I've got the Vortex optic of an eye on mine, the big
the PTS.
Yeah, and I remember like, and there was, as the crater's there, it's the sort of the shrubbery sort of breaks like this, and like sort of like a little track. And I've got the scar like this, and I remember just seeing this body walk across. I think it's Peter, his name is, I think, not Curtis. And literally, I just see him, and he's focused that way. So I've got his like right side squid, click, click, mate, and literally took all of the rounds, all of them. And literally just hit the deck like I weren't even there. But yeah, I mean, it was a cool firefight. It was really good. All teams were coming through. You know, we're getting overrun or this and that. So obviously, RO, you've got squad net in one ear, you've got command net in the other, and all you can hear all the call signs, you know, relaying back to Zero, like we're pulling back here, we need support here, we need medics here. So anyway, we started to wrap up because we were basically, they had such a good circumference around us, they had us surrounded. There was no way we was going to sort of win that. So we had to really sort of step up a gear. So Spencer and I think one of the other lads went into the helo, did a load of SSE, checked everything, photos, evidence in the bag. Then I think we had to destroy the helo, right? We had to basically debt the helo. I think then Sam come over with what can only be described as a Pringles can. Pringles can with a spoon and a ring pull on it. This thing, mate, when he went frag out, boom, I've just seen the helo go like that. Yeah, it was. So even in the first 20 minutes, mate, just some, you're straight in the thick of it, straight away, mega firefight, loads of contact, loads of immersive pieces to the game. You've got guys that are sort of basically hit, that need medical attention. You need to get dead bodies and the wounded out. You've got SSC going on. You've got this. So yeah, it was like sensory overload, but really cool. Do you know what I mean? It was, yeah.
I think that's one thing that I was super, and the briefing going into this. So we had this firefight. I actually need to open up a bit, and we came back to the base, to our fob area, and I started sort of genning up, taking on a ton of water. I think I've done just shy of about 7 litres. Just
really?
Yeah, I drank a lot. I had them little 500 ml Evian bottles, the little ones, and you go and they're gone, and you're like, oh
yeah.
And you do 2 of them, and that's a litre. So I just was wolfing them back. But I think the Ops tent and the way they structured that, and I actually fanboyed a little bit over Sam Wills. I thought he played Zero so good. It was almost painful. It was just, he was so on point with it. And I've obviously stood in front over the years of many, many people that are giving instructions to groups of guys. And they can sort of fucking fanny about a little bit too much, or they can take the role way too serious and be too overt and try and use all the terminology where it's unnatural. And then you get like the complete opposite where it's a bit loosey-goosey and there's no real structure to it. But because the way that they've done it, and I don't want to give too much away, but like with PowerPoints, with ISAR footage, with proper code names, with like annotated maps and everything, and just the presentation that Sam did, I sat there and was like, this is fucking dope. And obviously I know Sam, I've known Sam for a long period of time. I absolutely thought he nailed it. It was like one of the points I gave back to Terry. I was like, that Ops tent, the setup, the procedure, the way it was handled, it's literally one of the best that I've ever come across. And I think, a big part of that was Sam. So I don't know if he's watching or if his feedback will go back to him, but he murked it. I was so impressed. I think, if you carry on the series, Sam as Zero was bang on.
Yeah, because and again, like you say, mate, it wasn't. I think it was a really nice middle ground, right, for information, passage of information, but again, not being like waving a big stick around and saying this, that, it has to be by the book and blah blah blah. So yeah, that was good. So yeah, we sort of withdrew back from there, didn't we? One point I do want to touch on though, because obviously I've got it on helmet cam footage. Whether I put it up or not, I don't know. But obviously, in the game brief, in the Imperium guys, this is not SEO, Imperium, banged on about how dangerous the tanks were, how dangerous all the vehicles were. You have to stay clear, and this and that, and blah 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 blah. So they, I know this is all weekend, not just the first thing. They were going full bore in these vehicles all weekend, like foot to the floor. It was naught to go, like 100% everywhere. So I remember looking around, they were just bringing the next wave of guys in. So I'm on a knee, I'm sort of half in the cordon, relaying stuff from the crash site back to TL and back to Zero. Anyway, this Unimog basically comes flying down the track, mate, come up. And it's not the driver's fault, Airsofter's fault. This guy, they've all been told to keep clear of it. Guy runs basically straight in front of the Unimog, like straight in front of it. You can see it coming, you can't miss it, mate. It's a massive vehicle. And obviously he goes, oh, like this. And then the driver slams his brakes on. All like 6, 8 guys in the back just get smashed into the cab, right? So that was one point. I was like, guys, like, one, the guy should have been looking where he was walking. Two, the driver's probably going a bit too fast.
Yeah.
And then the driver stopped, said everyone, D-bus, D-bus. But he's not, basically what it looked like, he's left it in gear, right?
Yeah.
And not put the park brake on. Because two guys have got out, right? Or one guy out, one guy's half out. He's basically took his foot off the brake. The vehicle's lunged forward, basically spat a guy out the back. And like, he's managed to sort of land sort of fairly half decent and not hurt himself. And all the other 6 guys then went the other way towards the back of the vehicle. And you can see the guy faffing about the gear stick and this and that. And I'm like, dude, he is in no way has control of this vehicle. No way. Like, what if it was in reverse? He would have gone back over the guys. So at just one point, I was a bit like, whoa, that's like, let's face it, mate. If you're in a workplace, right, that's a near miss. That has to be reported to HSE. Like, I don't want to get all like political and, you know, where it has to be, you know, but it was just a point. I was like, well, they banged on so harsh in the brief about how dangerous these vehicles were. I'm like,
I mean, I think we were both witness to a few incidents on the vehicle side, and there was a few for me. I think the one that was most lethal for me was the fact that the 2 vehicles were in the safe zone, and one of them's got like an artillery barrel on the front. I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong. I don't know what it is, but like a tank barrel thing. And that one vehicle's gone so like pulled behind the one in front, and the one in front didn't move, and literally the barrel was about this high behind this kid's head, and it literally would have taken his fucking head off. And obviously, I see Terry and Sam and that address it straight away, but the guys on the vehicles seem to be so focused on kind of playing the part for the punters and hoofing around in the vehicles. But I think just the safety level dropped a bit. And considering the emphasis that Imperium put on being around the vehicles, I saw like a couple of fucking bad misses with the vehicles where people not only could have been like really fucking hurt, but like seriously, you know, quite dangerous. Now, whether that was just like a straight mistake from the drivers or not, I don't know. But I watched a couple of clips where I thought to myself, fuck me, like they're big, tracked, you know, fucking armored APCs, and you're driving them down these narrow lanes, like, and really going for it. And the guy who was driving, he was like, yeah, don't worry, lads, you're going to enjoy this. And I thought, yeah, I don't need that. I don't want you to hoof around and go over fucking berms and bumps this lot to like treat it like a roller coaster. That part of me, my brain kicks in and thinks, if you continue to do this on your side, you're going to go over a fucking berm and squash some cunt dead. And that was the only point for me where there was a few actually, but that was the main point for me where I sat back at that point, that near miss in the morning, obviously what you was talking about with the Union Mog, and then also the tracked vehicle when we turned up and it just stopped so abruptly. And then when I looked down to the side, there's a couple of lads taking a knee to one side, and I was like, he hasn't even seen those guys. Slightly worrying, considering they were concerned about the use of pyro. And I thought, fuck me, you're going to do much more damage squashing some fucker or hitting someone in the back of the head with a barrel than you are with a tag. And I was a bit like, shit.
Yeah, I think, you know, but anyway, you know, moving on from that, you know, it just sort of was, it just took you back a bit. It was like, wow, okay. I mean, you see things happen, but obviously with getting run over by a vehicle, we don't really get much grace for that. So anyway, we all rolled back to the fob, dekitted, debriefed, and then I think we were pretty much straight out, right? I think. Yeah,
pretty much straight back out, where we were going to push out to that compound, and there was a load of IEDs that were put up. So the whole thing was to go out and clear a compound of IEDs. Don't forget to mention you pissed off 15-20 guy by blind firing from, well, Troy's got really aggressive thumbs and got all angry and got halfway through his message and pressed send by accident. I will address this and explain what happened. But it was
basically,
it was quite funny.
Tim got an MG42 and like this.
That's what happened. I just crouched down behind the vehicle, knew exactly where they all were through the armoured vehicle, and just hosed them. That's exactly what happened.
I tell you what, the only other person who's as sort of short and angry as you is Mondo, and if he's got tracks driving like you stole it, I want to see him. I would love to see him drive something tracks, mate.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I bet that is absolutely. It's how Troy Butler. So we went out to this compound. This was really cool, actually. We got outside the compound. Everyone put this cordon out, and Terry said, "Yeah, there's just check it for IED. Send the EOD in first." So there's two sets of HESCOs right at the front, and I'm like, "Well, that's bait." So I go round the side of the HESCOs, don't see anything. Check all the front, looking for like really thin fishing wire or something like that. It's going to be used for a trip IED or even pressure plate IED, so like freshly turned over ground. I walk round the back of the HESCO and I can just in the light see this, and I've got sunglasses on as well, just the reflection of this tiny little bit of cable, and it literally goes down the side of me and zigzags in a big triangle. It was really clever. And then obviously the trip ID was at the back, so if you'd hit it from any of the sides, you would have tripped the maroon that was attached to it. So I managed to defuse all of the bombs in there without killing anyone, which was pretty much a win for me. But at the same time, mate, I'm being really honest, I was sweating. I was really nervous. Like, obviously pressure plates, all those sorts of things, they can be hidden so well. I was cutting about, and then obviously, managed to get them. But there was a bit of me where the old arsehole was going a little bit, and I was just like dripping with sweat. It was pretty cool. Yeah. It was a really nice spin, nice touch. Haven't really done anything like that with airsoft before. Really well thought out. And obviously, then that was our compound takeover. So yeah, it was sick. I really, really enjoyed it. And thank you to all of the SEO guys for the effort on that, because it was top notch.
Yeah, I think so pretty much during the day, most of the day we we spent trying to take that fob that Tim's talking about. Obviously, we were in vehicles, so we had a track vehicle front and rear, soft skinned vehicle in the middle. We got hit with an ID, all debussed. All of us got drilled. Which it's just, again, it is one of them things, right? There's a guy literally, they go EOD, boom, set the det, and then he stood literally 3 feet from the back of the truck, waiting for you to step out. I was like, it's gay, but what do you do? Rules is rules, right?
Yeah.
So we all jumped out, all got drilled, whatever. Tim somehow, I don't know how, managed to sort of like go like liquid and worm his way out of the vehicle, or he's so small, I think he was in someone's pocket. Tim managed to get out, and all of a sudden we're all here, and I'm thinking, this is fucked, whatever, we're all gonna go back. Next thing, Tim like comes under my arm, like in between all the dead bodies, just goes next to the vehicle. It just kills the guy. I was like, where did you come from? So yeah, it was again, we spent most of the day trying to get down to this fob. So
yeah,
the vehicle was done at that point. We had tank front, tank rear. So with foot mobiles in the middle, right? So you got good support front, good support rear. So we're going down, walking, watching. And again, this is where, like, in the Imperium briefing, they said, we have no player marshals. Our marshals are impartial. They're just there to enforce the rules or whatever. The guy on the tank behind me starts shouting at all our lads.
It's on camera, isn't it? Yeah.
And he's like, "Move up or get out of the way! Move up or get out of the way!" And I'm like, "Don't tell me what to fucking do. 2, you're a marshal. You get paid to sit there, enforce the rules, and shut the fuck up." And I think I actually spun around and said to him, "Mate, what is the point of us going at the back? So you want 2 tanks and then foot mobiles at the rear?" I said, "Your rear support the rear. Like, just think. Like, you've got armor front and back with foot mobiles in the middle. Surely that is the best scenario, right?" Yeah, Steve knows. Anyway, after giving this guy a broadside, he did wind it in and sort of stay where he was. But yeah, so obviously we got down to the fob. Tim done his little Gucci EOD bit. We stayed there for a bit, held the fob. Then we basically pushed out. There's like a hay bale field, like up and to the left. It's like on a bit of a slightly higher plateau.
Yeah,
but there's there's like loads of reeds and almost like a swamp area that you've got to sort of kind of get through to get to it. in all fairness, the Op 4 had that corner nailed, mate. Like the minute you was on that track, they had you dialed. The mortar fire and tag rounds that were coming into that lower fob was pinpoint accuracy, mate. Yeah, so fair play to those boys. But anyway, we pushed up with a few of us. I say Robson and Jordan with the LMGs, just basically walk forward, Terminator style, put a load of suppressing cover down, pushed up. And yeah, we managed to finally pop smoke, get up there, take it. And I think that was us then, really, wasn't it, for the afternoon? At sort of 5, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then it's the reply, mate. It's the reply.
But I shot Tim 4 times as I was kneeling, but Tim missed me. Yeah, okay, mate. And he was still shooting. So I was with a support gun, and you managed to get me 4 times while you were kneeling outside a vehicle. But I was blind firing. So if I was blind firing inside an APC, how did you shoot me? Through it? Come on, Cluedo, work it out. So yeah, we ended up going up to the compound, and this is when all the controversy happened of me being such a bad guy. We got in the vehicle on the way back. We stand in the vehicle. We're all in the back, and the guy says, "Yeah."
Can I just say, I was nowhere near Tim at this point. Okay, I've got an alibi. All right.
It was all me. So we get in the vehicle. Me, John, Jordan, Bobson, and a couple of others, right? And the guy says, "Yeah, you can use the support gun. Now it's on a swivel on the side of the platform. So if you're shooting straight ahead, for example, parallel with the weapon, there is a massive piece of metal between you, so you can't get behind and shoulder it. You can only be behind it if you're shooting like 90 degrees out of the thing, right?" So I'm just going back through.
Mate.
This is very true. Anyway, so I've got the support gun. We've gone out, we've hammered out. We've got about halfway down the track, and we're taking rounds in the top of the APC. The only way you can do that is obviously if you stood on something, because the ground's flat at this point. So I've got pinged to bits. I've knelt down. John's medicked me. I've still got hold of the gun, so I'm holding onto the handle of the gun. Now, bear in mind, this is like 1,600 quid MG42, and it's just a post in a little hole like that. And again, these guys were driving like way too quick. So what I was worried about is this gun just jumping out of the hole as we go over a bump and fucking the thing off, because he had it all bungeed down. Obviously, it wasn't bungeed down, so I was holding onto the handle, getting medicked. Come up, we're taking all these rounds in. So I spun the gun round and just licked off a shit ton of rounds. Now there was a Unimog with all people stood on the back of it and around the bottom of it. All the rounds were coming down the road. So I just lit everyone up that's there. Now, admittedly, the guys that were on the back were not meant to be being shot because they're supposedly in a vehicle, but they had the guns pointed at us. So I just blitzed them. And I've apologised for it. So for anyone that was in that vehicle that was not shooting or putting rounds towards me, I apologise for shooting you while you were static. Don't bitch. It's not a big deal. As we've come down further the track, I've then been shot from one of the bushes from the side. Again, still holding onto the gun, not shooting, knelt down, got a medic clip, span it round, and then lit a load of people up to the point when they were calling hit. This was John. It's my favourite photo ever. Look. Look how happy John is.
He's such a happy little bunny.
I've never seen him so happy. And this was because every time I got shot, the driver and the banksman for the driver was like, "Yeah, Tim, you hit." I was like, "Okay." He was like, "You don't have to stand up if you want to, but if you want to get medic back in, you can." Like, it's every time I got hit, he said that. So I was like, "All right, fine." Bear in mind, John we'd just come from the spawn area, so we had all the medic tabs for the whole team. So I was like, "Go on then, mate." Clipped one on, stood up. Now, if anyone has an issue with it, I'm cool. Again, the guys in the back of the vehicle, I will apologise to. You may have took a couple of stray rounds, but anyone else, mate, you can eat a dick. It's as good as that. Okay, gun hit, absolutely. gun hitting an APC.
I can't. I'm out.
We've broken Richie. He can't handle it. He's done. Okay. Some people can't accept that players out there are better than them. Yeah, it was true. It was pretty funny. We had a good time. But yeah, that was literally it. So we come back in, and we had a quick word with one of the marshals. Again, said, look, when you're shooting up the track, obviously you couldn't be behind the gun. I was like, fine. Shooting, you've got to shoot just out off of the side of the vehicle. I was shooting up and down the track. It was agreed. Jim and the rest of the site owners gave me a little warning about it, and that was it, done and dusted. So people shooting me.
What it is.
They definitely hit me. I mean, everyone's had it. You probably didn't. Get better. As good as that.
GGC.
GGC all day.
GGC. So yeah, I think obviously I just remember us pulling up. Obviously that Tim's gone at this point. We're in the second vehicle. We pulled up next to this Unimog, mate, and literally everyone they're acting like you've just took a shit on their hand. Like the geese got out with it. The APC in front, the guy on there, he just shot us all. He lit us all up. Shot us all. And I'm literally like, straight away, mate, I was like, Tim, what have you done? Straight away, mate. Oh, brilliant.
I love it. I definitely shot Tim.
But in all fairness,
yeah, I shot Tim. 100 miles it was. 100-mile shot.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, cross channel. But yeah, I think Tim with an MG43. I hope Mondo's drinking tonight, because if he's not, I'll be very much surprised.
He's definitely drinking.
He has to be drinking, and I think Winks is drunk as well. Just going back to the comments, I think
on one. Winks is dropping classics.
Winks is on one, mate. I think it was.
Have you read this? I fired 7 2.5 Jess Precisions BBs at Tim and made at least 4 made contact with his torso. He kept shooting me afterwards. Now it's just unfair I've wasted those bits of plastic. Please get that in Latin across the back of your shoulders.
Yeah, I think also Brooksy was saying, you know, what was the comms like? Comms was good. Definitely, there was only a couple of call signs that were, you know, sort of sending good comms, frequent comms back and forth to 0.
Yeah.
For the most part, all the other call signs were silent. I think it was Charlie. Charlie was giving good comms. Alpha was giving good comms. Rest of the guys were like nothing. Do you know what I mean? But we did notice that there was a big selection of green players there. You know, that weren't very. They appeared to be very sort of green to Milsims. Not a bad thing. Just saying that obviously it must have been. You know, it's like anything, right? A bit at the deep end of the pool, but you got to start somewhere. But yeah, comms were right. Was it Sam? I spent an hour in the sand fob waiting for action with Mikey. Took me a couple of other guys down in the vehicle to some action as a full commander wasn't commanding it. Got off and got shot. Mate, sod's law in it, always the way. Always, you literally go, do nothing for like 4 hours. First contact, hit, done. Yeah.
I can't say, like, you know, I probably this weekend when I was talking to Richie about it, I don't think I've been shot as much as I did this weekend in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I had a lot of medic tabs all over me all weekend. But again, when we spoke about it, like I was trying to get to the front and have a good tear up, and in that there was a lot of support guns there, and there was a lot of snipers. I got cracked by a sniper. I don't know who it was. Absolutely wicked shot, but clocked me from a long way away. I just felt that kind of unk, and I was like, oh shit. Actually got John over again. Well done, John. To medic me and John. It was really good. Again, mate, I was super impressed. I think the vehicle thing for me, reflecting, was a little bit sketchy. Thinking about it now. And we're quite fortunate, really, that nothing too bad happened with people getting on and off and in and out of vehicles. You know, the biggest thing that people have got to complain about after a full weekend like that in that temperature is hit taking and some other sort of generic bitching. I think you've had a really successful weekend because it's a dangerous site from the fact that there's berms and all that sort of stuff. Also, there's reed pits. So if any of you have seen any reed pits, they're dead flat with the ground. They fall about 8 foot, and it's just slush and bog around the bottom of reeds. It's really, really dangerous. If you get in there, it's tough to get out.
Yeah, I mean, I edged my way into one, and literally, I managed to get so far, but I was like, nah, no way. So anyway, sort of fast forwarding on. Once Tim's caused World War III, got everyone banned, and basically caused basically done a whole other genocide by mowing people down with an MG42. We spent about the next hour sort of like trying to make up for it and polish people's shoes and stuff. Anyway, back to the fob. So this is we're starting to get to sort of late evening now. So not wanting to go full bore and ruin night ops, I said, look, I'm gonna get some grub, get a bit of downtime, ready for night time.
I need to jump in. Sorry.
Go on.
When Richie says I need to have a little bit of grub, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, mate, was you on ration packs?" Right? So I get a phone call from Richie on Friday, and he was like, "All right, Tim, all right, sirloin or fillet? Was that it, or was it no? It was ribeye, or fillet?
Ribeye or fillet, sir?
Excuse me, is this a sexual conversation?" It's like, ribeye or fillet. I was like, "Do you know what, mate? I love a bit. I love a bit of fillet." He was like, "All right, see you later." All right, bye. I had the most incredible steak sandwich. It was unreal. I'm going to put a quick photo in because it was ballistic. Here we go. Proper. Oh, there you go. Casa de Ricci,
boy.
The top right there.
Yeah.
Double bed, memory foam mattress, every accessory you can imagine.
Yeah, you can charge your phone. You can watch TV. You got a fridge full of ice cold beers.
It's pretty amazing, and just the most phenomenal setup. Steak, ciabatta bread sandwiches, and then me and you getting ready for night ops to go out and have a bit of
so that picture there. Oh mate, yeah. So that picture there that Tim's got up right now. So that was basically our setup for night ops. So Tim, so what were you running in? What are you wearing there? Basically, just give us a quick rundown, mate.
So I've got the Claw Gear Raider Mark 4s. And then coming up from there, I actually had the level 7 on because I only had a t-shirt on underneath it. And obviously at this point it dropped a little bit, but it was probably far too hot for that. Belt Odin Mark 3 from Raptor Tactical, and I was running the pistol and the impact on there as well. Coming up from that, got the new Agilite K19 with a Warrior high triple across the front, the one with the rubber liner inside. I know it's Warrior, but it's such a nice carrier for the mags. As you can see, it sits really high. They don't move about at all, but they're nice to get the mags in and out of. On the back, running the new MMAT 3 from Agilite. Again, lovely bit of kit. People are asking about comms. I was running my JCI Basic this weekend, so it's the PTT, the Nexus PTT with a mic built in, and then the silicon earpiece with the Silinx rubber cups. And then coming up, got obviously FMA LTP Exfil copy, and then the 1431s from Baller Tactical. And on there, I've got the G Gear recorder, so the Goons Gear recorder on there, and that's how I got the night vision footage.
Nice. Yeah, likewise, mate. Pretty much same as you. Claw Gear Raider Mark 4s, but obviously I'm running the knee pads, the external knee pads.
Yeah.
Come up from there. Belt kit is from, oh my god, it's so old. Some tactical company out in Poland. Can't even remember what they're called now. But it's brilliant bit of kit, mate. It's a 2-piece molly belt, lovely. Pushing up from there, I've literally I tell you what, at level 7, mate, I do not know. All I had on, mate, I had a t-shirt on and a Cry field shirt, and I was sweating.
Sorry, Cry. Cry,
friends. So I'm running the T3 Geronimo. I think it's a G3.
Yeah.
Or is it G2? G2 releasable. Sorry. G2 releasable from T3 Gear. Lovely plate carrier, perfect for dual comms. At this point, so it's got like an insert in the front. I basically pulled the 762 insert out, closed the flap to make the front nice and low profile. Because obviously, as you can see, they're running the Mark 46, which was an absolute beast that night. Obviously, got the Pector on the side. It does have the new Warhead brushless motor in it, and we'll get to that a bit later on, but it was incredible. Comms wise, then running two TRI 152s coming up into the JCI TAC mic, the CT5. Off of that, I do have an aux lead into a Bluetooth adapter, so you can listen to you know, a bit of share on the way in.
Bit of Miley.
Bit of Miley. Ear Pro wise, and also I know you had the silicon earpiece. I was running the full over ear comms. That's the Opsman M32X. Found them phenomenal this weekend.
Yeah.
Despite you know, sweating out of my hoop all weekend, they stood up fine. Again, the Opsman strobe on the back, the Manta strobe, not the Manta strobe, it's whatever, I can't remember what it's called now, but yeah, the Opsman strobe on the back was good as well. That was great when we were doing SSC at night, and obviously the 1431s from Baller Tactical.
Yeah, really super comfortable in that setup. I'm just going to pull this reach back down for the minute just so we can go back through some of the comments, but yeah, I mean, setup wise, I've got to admit, a little bit too warm with the level 7. I did have it unzipped. More than anything, it was nice to keep the stinging nettles and stuff off my arms on the infill, because the way that me and you ended up cutting through, I'm glad that my arms were covered. I think what I found during the day is just having like the bottom forearm out of the t-shirt, I just got stung to bits going through a load of the really tall stinging nettles. But it felt super comfortable. First time running out the K19. It's a bit broader than my last plate carrier from LBX. But it's not as bad as the T3. It sits okay on my shoulders, works perfectly with the pack. Sides are nice and slick, and was super comfortable. Felt weird clicking the old nods back down after such a long time of not running them. But literally within, it was so weird, like, you know, 30 seconds in, I got up the track, spun around a couple of times. I was like, oh, my heart rate just, I felt everything calm. I think I was talking to Robson about this on the way back. So Matt felt so relaxed going out at that point. Like, we were just on the infill in, so he went on point as we went up towards the base after snagging the HVT. But I'll let you talk through that as you took lead on that. But I just felt super relaxed going out at night. Just felt so super calm.
I do remember flicking the nods down because obviously I've got the unobtainium gear MV recorder, so we do have some footage from that at some point. But again, I put them down, and I remember being like, "Oh my god, it's so bright,
so bright,
so bright." Where it's been such a long time. It was a good moon until the cloud cover come in, which kind of saved us a bit. But yeah, so basically the first night up was a big one, big one. So we had ISAR, you know, overhead sort of footage, surveillance footage of the camp that we were going to hit, the compound we were going to hit. Basically 4 buildings. 3 looked like weapons caches or stashes for some reason, you know, with big heavy padlocks and stuff. 1 looked like a living quarters. So we were briefed, right, so you need breaching kit. So that is like, so there'll be DEMS. So you're gonna EMOE, you know, doors. You may need a sledgehammer if it's a foul breach. You may need bolt cutters. We don't know. We know we need to breach those doors somehow, but we don't quite know how yet, because obviously it's proper aerial footage. What I did like though is when we went into the briefing, the aerial footage was up to date, mate. And
it was about an hour before, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about an hour before, and it showed you like where the patrols, where the OPFOR were walking within that compound.
So to not ruin anything, but I do find this just insane. The guys in the footage were in the same space, or roughly to almost like 1 or 2 meters when we hit the compound. So I think that's just goes to show how important that ISAR footage was, that we could pretty much hit the corner, and obviously Richie's got it all on camera of him ripping through the compound. and the guys didn't stand a chance. Like, you know, he literally goes zip, 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 and it's like very close to the ISR.
And again, mate, you know, just having that option to get eyes on with real time sort of intelligence was you know, really good, really good. So anyway, all call signs. So this involved every single call sign on the Blue Force, you know, Alpha, Bravo, whatever. So we pushed out along the track. We went down. There was basically a civilian camp. I say civilian. They were basically engineers that were in the AO doing some work, whatever. As we swung past there, Sharpie, thank you, mate. He very, very kindly offered to take my Sonics Aurora for the evening and basically sort of shadow us around and, you know, watch the action and what was going on. So we do have some footage from the Sonics Aurora, thanks to Sharpie. Thank you, mate. Yeah, so he basically followed us in. So we then took a big loop, all call signs round. We'd already planned this, the infill route with all call signs. So basically, I think Alpha, Charlie, Delta, etc. were setting up a cordon. They all sort of basically, as they come in, they all sort of feathered off and basically surrounded the compound. We pulled up just short. I sent Jordan and Spencer forward. They just went over the track, just went to a knee. So I've got eyes on them. Obviously, Zero with us. Kilo was with us. That was our contact on the ground. And yeah, it was all pretty smooth, to be fair. Everyone was super quiet, you know, all good hand signals, etc. as we were moving through. Really smooth, really quiet. Although we did miss our first RV. We bounced past that, but that was Alpha in front of us. They just sort of skirted past that. Doesn't matter. So we're on target. We sat there, we're waiting for the green light now. And we were going to wait for the other call signs to finish getting in position to initiate the contact, and then they were basically a diversion. So if you imagine like this, so all the rest of the call signs were going to put fire in, and we were then going to sort of sneak in the side. As it was, other call signs took a little bit longer. So we got told from Kilo that, you know, no, just go in. And you know, like Tim says, that footage from early on was critical because me and Jordan basically went down. He had his stoner, I had my Mark 46. We basically went down either side of the track. And because we knew guys were going to be either side of that HESCO, we literally just pied like that, round, and mate, and that was it. Just brr, 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 and they were exactly where we thought they were going to be. So, yeah, very critical from that, knowing where guys are, or at least give you an indication, right? So we started to push through. Obviously, Bravo was pushing up with us. We basically sort of weaved through that compound pretty quick. We got onto the far building, which is supposedly the living quarters with the HVT that we needed to get. I know John pushed past me and a few other boys. They basically bounced on. They covered that furthermost wall. So, and it was really great to watch guys just be organic, you know, minimal talk, just a few hand signals, and guys were weaving through like this, in and out the buildings. I knew I think it was Robson and that on my left-hand side and Tim on my left-hand side. Jordan was with me and John. And yeah, it was just really nice to watch a call sign move so sort of fluid together. Anyway, secured the area. All hostiles were down. Cordon was still in place. And obviously at that point we needed a breacher to start breaching the building where the HVT was. So we called Robson up. He got his little bag out, got all his dems out, put the slap charge on. We reeled it out, come back, and sod's law, mate. The clacker wouldn't work. Just you know,
pump enough to him.
No, just didn't work. So literally, I remember looking back and with a blink of an eye, like Jordan's there with the sledge, mate, handing it to me. So I passed it on to Robson. And I just remember like Tim's literally behind Robson like this, just waiting to go like that, like a little terrier, mate. Robson's just smashing 10 barrels of shit out this door, mate.
I love Robson, and he's such a placid dude, but that door, not it. He hit the bottom of the door and the building went. I went, hold on, bruv, like chill out. Mikey was the HVT in his building. We were given a frag to go after him, but it was only a flash, so it wasn't to kill him. We had to go in and execute. We had to climb through the bottom of the door, and I actually took a wicked round right on the fist.
Nice.
And remember, it come up in a little blood blister, and I had to pop it. It was a wicked shot. So as I was trying to get in the door, I literally. So it just goes to show how much I was revealing because I literally had like the platform like that. I've let it. I've just got my fist in front, and it's gone. I was like, yeah. I was like,
mate.
oh, Mikey. Again, thank you so much, John. Again, like he was on it from a medic perspective. He grabbed me by the back of the plate carrier. Obviously, I was like sat down. He's pulled me out of the way of the door. Got a medic tab on me. At this point, Robson's climbing through the door and putting rounds down. I've managed to sort of climb in behind him, boot the door open.
Just going back a little bit, obviously. So the plan was, so Tim was Dems. So Tim put the slap on. Robson would breach. I would then throw the bang in. Obviously, Dems didn't work. Got the sledge out. Anyway, so as he's put the door in, only the bottom section of the door's gone in. At which point, like, you have to go. Do you know what I mean? Like, he knows we're there. We have to go. So I've literally just gone in with a bang. Boom, boom, boom. 3 bangs. I've crawled through, got clipped straight away, moved to one side. That's when Tim's got hit. And I remember just because I was inside the building at this point. So I've moved to one side, obviously try and get out of the way of everyone. And I just remember hearing Robson hear this. I thought, I know what that is. And like Robson threw a screamer in there, like, you know, one of those boom, 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 like a triple bang. Now, bear in mind, it's what, about 12:30, something like that? It's got to be about 12:30, I think.
I think it's about 12:30, 1 o'clock by the time we got out there. Yeah, it was quite late.
Yeah, so it's quite late, but obviously now, because we knew this was kind of, I don't want to say a set piece, because, you know, the outcome could be whatever you want it to be, right? But we knew what bangs we were using, we knew who was going in, and basically the HVT kind of knew we were coming. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
And he knew we were going to be using some fairly loud bangs, so he had ear pro on, right? But didn't he have like little squishy earbuds?
Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, right? You know, it's a milsim. We're going to be using them.
Saturdays, like these sort of things.
Either way, we're going to be using some pretty loud bangs, right? You know, whether that's FBG6s, whether that's GR20s. You know, in a confined space, it's going to be loud. But Mikey was just like, whatever.
Yeah,
because it's a milsim and he knows it's a milsim. Anyway. So that was that. So obviously at that point, I'm dead. I'm waiting for the guys to push through and clear. Which I think, who was first? Who was next in? Was it Robson when it was in next?
Robson went in, yeah, and put the rounds in. I managed to climb through behind him. At this point, we were trying to detain and medic Mikey back up. Everyone come flooding in once the door had been kicked open, which actually had been drilled shut, been screwed shut. So I put the door open. I got out of there knowing that the EOD was going to be needed to dems the rest of the building. Linked up with Kilo and that call sign to go and to find the advanced DOD that was going to do the bigger dems to get rid of the rest of the stuff on site. I think at this point, this is where there's always that little bit of confusion and hesitancy that you've all gone in together, and now you've got that front team turning around and facing the team behind. I'm pretty sure John got a blue on blue at this point. We were talking earlier on today. I come over a berm, got an enemy contact call further down the road, and I remember radioing this in. Come across the radio, Richie was on there. I said to him, I'll take point and go and hit that contact. I've come up over the top of a berm, taken a ton of rounds on the back of the berm, and then hit a load of lads up the road that seemed to be on a grounded position, so they were laid down. And then I think that it was our own team. Even to this point, I'm not sure. But we were taking rounds in the compound for about 15 minutes at this point, gone to white light and everything, and we're still taking rounds in. So at that point, I think a few people got slapped up the road. But it's one of them things. It definitely happens, especially if you've got a mixture of non-nod users and then nod users. You know, I could see pretty much everything up there. So by the time you pushed up to where I was, I think you got the call in that we might have been on a blue on blue contact. But
yeah, I think it was a case. Obviously, I was with Kilo, and we were pushing around buildings. You know, sort of seeing what needed breaching, what didn't. And another really cool point, which I think the guy with the Sonics may have got on camera. He literally, I think it was, we needed to breach his door. I think it had a padlock on it, and yeah, Keeler, who was the advanced COD, I think it was, they whipped out this like battery grinder, mate. It's just like, do you know what I mean? Sparks going everywhere. Yeah, it's cool. Like just a nice immersive little thing. So that was cool to watch. But yeah, anyway, there was a guy literally went, contact, end of the road. And I said to him, have you got numbers? He went, yeah, ×2. I was like, cool, mate. I said, if you can PID it, bang it. And I think that's when I didn't hear Tim. I heard Tim's scar went clack clack, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, things like that with calls like that, you've got to trust the team around you that they're making the right call, because essentially when I hit the back of the berm essentially was taking rounds where they were putting rounds in on us, and that's how the contact had been called. Coming over the top with nods in the long grass, mate, I mean, they didn't really stand too much of a chance, but it was what it was.
Yeah. So did you just put that comment up from Sam Cook?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So obviously I don't want to roll over this too much, but you know, unfortunately there was a bit of miscommunication somewhere, and
Shit. The Howards, my Viking boys, mate. I feel for them so bad, and the Raglot.
And Tom as well from Dragard. You know what I mean? Obviously, like, I know those guys love a tear up day or night, and that's what I love about it. I love someone who's equally, you know, across the board day or night will just get stuck in. And because obviously we basically wrapped up, we got the HVT, we're on our way out. I'm like, that seemed a little bit too easy, but obviously it turns out that, you know, OT4 were meant to be there to give us a pasting. But bit of miscommunication, whatever, it happens, right? But yeah, just gutted. I feel bad for the OT4 lads because, you know, we got our fill. You know, we went in and slapped some people and done some cool stuff. Whereas the OT4 guys, I feel bad because they didn't really get to get their rocks off, right?
I come out of grabbing Mikey, and I remember taking a knee with Robson, and I said to Robson, I was like, mate, where the fuck are they? So what do you mean? I was like, where are they? I mean, I know because I'd seen the Howtons and all the Raglot all grouped together, nodded up, ready to go out to have a tear up. Now, what had happened is the OPT4 leader had sent them to the mill base and not to where we were. So they were actually sat in the mill base waiting for us to turn up, and we never did. And we were expecting them to potentially hit us on the way out, which would have been a really smart play. Rather than trying to defend the base, let us go in, let us relax, let us go, yeah, we've got the HVT, this is amazing, we're fucking great. And then all of a sudden, lots of pyro, lots of bangs, big smack. It really would have disorientated the team. And that's what we were kind of preempting, and it didn't happen. So, you know, I did see the Howtons, and I was a bit disappointed because every event that I've been to, probably in the last 4 or 5 events, we've ended up on opposite teams, and we've had a really good little tear up, and I've got a lot of time for both the boys. Obviously know the Raglot really well as well, so I was hoping that over the weekend we'd Leeds to have a good tear. I love playing against those boys. I know they're super honest players. I know they're a high caliber of player as well, so it's always good to throw stuff in the mix like that. To hear that they were at the wrong objective because of a fuck up from the command for that level of time and during such a prestigious part of the event for us was a bit of a shame. And you know, I genuinely feel for them lads, because at the same time, it's nice that it went smooth. On the flip side, I love a fucking tear up. I love just blind firing from an APC and knowing where people are. That's what I'm about now.
But I mean, like, just even Sam's comment there, right? So Sam was in the. What does he say here?
Let me grab it.
Here it got tasted tonight. I got shot sitting in a deck chair by the fire in the grass swamp. Annoying as our trip lines were set off by marshals earlier in the day. So again, you know,
so where's that?
Sam Cook.
Sorry, Sam. All right, let's pull it up.
Bit further up.
Yeah, got it.
But you know, like that. Obviously, I'll let Tim talk us through this one in a bit. So this was the second half of this is our second night op. And obviously, again, like we knew there'd be some of the OPT4 would be mega switched on, trip mines, all sorts of stuff. But again, mate, a marshal would come blithering through and like set off all the stuff you spent all that time setting up, mate. I'd be
pissed. Yeah, Sam, I feel for you there, mate, because as EOD and obviously speaking to Terry, I was really heel toeing everywhere to try and look for trips while I was up front, and so went on point for the second strike. Now the second strike was late. We had a few clear objectives. Sam pulled me and Richie into the ops tent for like quite a strict briefing of what we needed to get on objective. That was to take down and clear a SAM site. That was to take a HVT and kill the HVT, which was Stu, and to clear the camp and surrounding area of the SAM site. Now, admittedly, from the ISAR, we could see that there was tents up around the SAM site. We knew there would be big resistance, and Sam really, and again, you know, fair props to Zero, left it with me and Richie to push that out and sort of trusted us to take point. So, being the angry little terrier that I am, I wanted to take point and get stuck in on this. We led the team out. Got some wicked helmet cam footage that will be coming to the channel soon. Probably my first bit of gameplay ever on the channel. Outside of the sniping stuff from 2016. So probably the first gameplay from me. And it's a really good and decent bit of footage. Should we show a little tiny bit?
Why not, mate? Why not?
Right, there's only 60 odd people here. Right, let's work out how I'm going to show you guys some of this video.
So I want to know why what's his name? Here we go. I want to know why James Nicol didn't shoot the guy that was rolling up on him. He had his M4 there. I wonder why he didn't shoot.
I've missed that. Okay. So guys, this is a little bit of footage here. Hopefully you can see it okay. So that's the SAM site to the left. As you can see, there's bodies through the woods there to the right. This is the recorder struggling to deal with the contrast. Where that light is, that's a campfire. As you see through the bushes, these are the boys behind. And you can see some silhouettes there just on the right-hand side. You've got a little head. Let's see if we can isolate that frame again. So if I pause there, you can just see in the middle of the screen, just below the tree to the right-hand side, that's a face. Just to the left of that is another face. And then to the left of that again, behind the back of the tree, you just got a silhouette there. It's pretty hard to see, but obviously I've watched this back a few times. So we're creeping in, got eyes on the SAM site. Again, just have a little check. You might not be able to pick up on the audio here. Right, guys, ready? We start stacking up in a line. We've got a set of bodies to the right, a set of bodies to the left. You see a little pan to the left. Here we go. The boys are beginning to step up. That's everyone down from the whole side. You see now, obviously, guys begin to move in. John moves forward there, down onto the track. Got Richie and John start clearing that deep part there. Look at the rounds coming out from the 46.
Yeah, mate.
Listen. Look at Sam. Wait, let me try and pause it. Look. This is Sam with the MG42.
Sam MG42 wheels.
I love it. Honestly, I turned around and just saw him pasting, absolutely pasting with the MG42. Not only did I fanboy a little bit, so it's pretty cool, like Sam's head to toe in drip and then just like shooting from the shoulder with a
got
42.
some op 4 like rig that he just picked up, mate.
Yeah, hopefully you can hear it. Listen to this. So Richie comes back up. We're a little bit concerned there about enemy coming in from behind. So Sam gives me a little tug in a minute and we go and check the wood path. This is when the pyro starts going off. You see lots of pyro throughout. Right, we've got friendlies pushing up, but we've got the pyro coming in now. Two guys watching our entrance on the way in. So I think that's Connor, I think.
Perhaps Connor and Reese, maybe?
Yeah, Connor and Reese, I think. We've got giggles coming from the guys at the fire. We've realised they've just been absolutely slapped by a full platoon of guys that didn't even know were there.
Mate, again, they took it so well.
Do you know what they did? They really did. You know, we weren't close. There wasn't really overkill or anything like that. But the guys did take it well. And again, now we've got the guys moving through the lower part of the village on foot. Richie there, John just to the left. Nice, on point. We've got a few guys that end up buried right at the back of the site here. Lots of pyro.
Yeah, ton of pyro, mate.
So I think in total we had about 20 odd players in here. So the guy in his bed there, worried about a weapon, then we get the strobe on. Richie very quickly deals with him with a 46.
Close.
Just checking to make there's no blue on blue.
Yeah. I say no, brother. Hit!
Get clapped here from
Yeah,
over the back. Look,
Yeah,
there he is.
'cause John gets
point.
hit from the right, doesn't he?
He literally, I get hit and John just appears from like a little portal out the ground. Right now he's obviously putting the tag on the zipper on my leg. Gives me a little tap on the bum, up we get, and off we go. Like,
Is he down?
literally the most efficient header. Back this guy at the back here. It's now, yeah.
Because I end up pushing around right and flank on that guy, I think.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, he's down, he's down, he's down.
And I think there's guys that are just further to the back at this point. Sorry guys, this is the full video, so there will be an edit, it'll be cleaned up. We'll try and improve this footage a little bit, but you can see, good thing about the nods here, obviously there's the guide ropes from the tent and stuff like that. And you can see the nods nicely gating from all the bangs. These are bright bangs as well, so without, you know, nods on, they're very bright to the eye, obviously the nods are dealing with the bangs really well. Again, the clarity doesn't really come through the video, it's 720p, but you can see they're super sharp. With Richie pressing on there into the lower part of the village. But you can see just on this screen just how bright that bang is. So that's that little bright dot in the middle. Or is that the guy's head torch?
I'm not sure, mate. I think it might be his head torch. I don't know.
Might be his head torch. There's a couple of scenes on it where you get to see the bangs go off. Yeah, so Richie's now beginning to press through to the back. And then we've got John dead here. Yeah, waiting for med. So I'm just checking, making sure no one's coming out any of the tents, pulling weapons. Obviously, we've had this at sites before. So the pet come on, and he gets drilled.
Yeah, because there were two guys high left and two guys high right, weren't there?
Yeah, and he medics in a minute, and you clear them both out. So there's one low in a minute. You'll just see the signature from some sort of peck.
Yeah.
Oh, I've just put my peck on it. But can you see there? There's just a little
that faint little dot. Yeah.
Between the V of the trees. That is some form of light peck.
That's a peck inbound, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what drew me to it. I was like, that's the guy.
I put the round bang on it.
There's a light through there, mate.
And I'll play up to the bit where you put this burst out, and then we'll cut it because there's some other bits at the end of this.
Got any eyes, Richie?
We need to pull. Watch this little burst. Again, big bang.
Changing.
Quick little change. 100 odds. Done. Nice and slick. At this point, we can hear the footprint, the footsteps of the guys. Obviously, I've got the earpiece in. It sounds like it's off to the right.
Yeah, because
really deceptive. This is it. Does them both. So guys, I'm gonna pull that video from there. Happy to obviously have any feedback here, any reactions, anything like that. So,
but again, most of that, mate, was like, you know, the brush was so thick. Yeah, you couldn't really see much. A lot of it was going on audio, mate, on people's footsteps, talking, you know, moving through trees and stuff. So, yeah, it's cool though, right?
Yeah, seriously cool. Really enjoyed it. Great engagement. No real issues. Now, obviously, there was a bit of an incident at the end. I don't really want to go into it too much, but obviously, it was a key part of the night for me. that I think through what for me up to that point was a really, really good and clean engagement.
Yeah.
Didn't have any complaints at all. I don't think anyone was overboard. Again, I didn't go through rattling people's tents and shooting people in their sleep. People just chose to stay in their tents. I did obviously keep an eye on it. Me and Richie were at an event a few years back, and we'd walked through the camp, and essentially the guy was trying to climb out of his tent with a gun. They'd essentially all said that the camp was cleared, and he got shot and then complained a lot about it. He come out of his tent head first, so you can imagine what took a few rounds, and he got very upset. So I obviously wanted to avoid that scenario again, but the level of sportsmanship and everything that happened at that point was really good. Hit taking from our side was absolutely on point. John was
again, I think, like, you know, just the little bit when you see us push down and to the right with me and John, obviously I drilled 2 or 3 guys in that camp down there, and I remember as obviously pushed forward onto them to make sure there's no one else there, mate. The guys were having a laugh, having a giggle. They were taking the piss out of Tim. Obviously, the last time he was at that site, he set a car on fire. You know, it was all just real. I mean, they've just got rolled over, but they didn't. They weren't bitching. They'd come there to shoot people and get shot, throw grenades, get grenades thrown at them, and you know they were sat there having a laugh, having a giggle, not bitching, not moaning. Do you know what I mean? It was just. That's what it's about, you know. If you can't come to these games and then have it all one-sided. So the very 2 extremes of this, I think, really, because there were guys that came there knowing what it was about, and some people that weren't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it'd be very easy to complain at that point. So what essentially happened is the HVT was in a command tent, and it was a part of the site that we were told to attack, to use force. Now, because of the situation with Mikey, where we broke into a building, we took a lot of casualties. I say a lot. Myself and Robson were both clapped on the way climbing through the door. And because these guys didn't know if they were going to go in here and he was going to have a mounted weapon or 2 revolvers or whatever, right? He could have been armed to the teeth in there with anything. They decided to frag the command tent, caused a little bit of chaos.
If in doubt, frag out.
It was pretty brutal, and you know we had to index the op at that point, which was for me a little bit of a shame, just seeing the hard work that everyone had done and just the sportsmanship up to that point. It was a little bit of a shame, completely out of SEO's control, but for me a little bit of a kick, because I felt like the op had been so Gucci up to that point, and I was watching back the footage and I just thought, playing beyond the point of the bit you just saw, it was just, I don't know, maybe a little bit for me of an end to the op that I didn't want.
Bit of a full stop, right?
Yeah, it was a bit like, oh fuck. And I completely understand the circumstances. Obviously, scared the guy in the tent, having a bang come in. I don't know what he was doing at that point. We were sleeping. What protection he had on. What scenario that he was in. But it just brought down such a Gucci op, as you can see from the footage. It really doesn't portray how much your heart gets going. I was on point. I was literally walking heel to toe, and I come over the top of this hill, and you've got 10 guys sat around one fire, maybe another 15 guys sat around a fire, and I am, probably sub 10 meters from being in the thick of the enemy camp. And your heart is just racing. It's such a crazy experience. And from doing all that, taking very little casualties, I think I had a death, John had a death, and a couple of the other guys got fragged. But outside of that, such a clean op, considering what we were going there to do, to kind of finish it all and not exfil, under nods, nice sneaky beaky was just a big shame.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I think it's, like you say, obviously, the guy was clearly rattled by it, obviously I hope he's all right and whatever. But likewise, I think it's hard because, everyone knows that if it's a milsim, mate, and it's clearly stated it's a 24-hour milsim, and that, and both Imperium and SEO said that the bit that back at the safe zone said that will always be a safe zone. If you want to get some downtime or some rest, come here. So it's very clear that if you're that side of the boundary, it's in game. You're fair game, you know. So I think if you don't want to, you know, get run up or get done up, then take yourself out of game. You know, that's what we did, right? We went back to fob, got ahead, got some food, got a head down.
Yeah, usual routine for us.
Yeah.
What I do think in regards of that scenario, and how it was kind of dealt with at that point, I think they'd done the absolute right thing. I think it was Sam Wills jumped on it straight away, got some of the guys that were there that didn't need to be there out of the way. And,
yes.
And we just pressed on again. You know, more just good work from the staff at SEO, from everyone. But for me, it was a bit of a kick. Sadly, at that point, it was about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I actually needed to bounce to get back. So for me, a little bit frustrating that I couldn't have stayed and seen the whole thing play out. Obviously, was aware of what happened throughout the day on the Saturday. It pissed a few people off. And again, looking back on the entire event, I fucking had such a blast. I couldn't give two shits if I pissed someone off. I had just the best fucking weekend. I had a really great time. I apologise for it. A few guys were on the back of the vehicle, took a few BBs. Could have been a hell of a lot fucking worse. That's for sure, with the way that the vehicles were hoofing about. But I literally had a belting weekend. I loved the organisation. I love Terry's attitude. I have a lot of time for Mikey. I think he played the role of a bad guy really, really well. As much as some of the Op4 have got a lot to say in their chat groups, I think they've done a great job. I think that we got, our asses handed to us a few times. I didn't get to tear up with the Houghtons because I've got a lot of respect for those boys and the rag lot. So I was a bit gutted about us not getting a bit of a dust up. But I think overall what Terry did was fucking awesome. And everyone else, the whole SEO lot. And again, mate, just to emphasise the point, I think Sam Wills is zero, just murked it. I think he was a big part of that weekend for me.
Yeah, and again, I think, again, like obviously having that JTAC element there, with Kilo, again, Liam, was really good. All weekend he was just switched on, focused. At no point did I ever see him sort of like go into a flap, go into a panic, or even just sort of. He was like, how can I put it? He didn't even sort of like he did. Not that he didn't want to have fun, but he was so focused on everyone else having a good time. Do you know what I mean? He was like just boom, 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 orders, this, that. So yeah, Sam, Liam, Terry. I mean, like we said, mate. As soon as we, all weekend, I think we had a belting time. It ticked every box, right? So you had boots on grounds, mega contact initially, loads of pyro, which we love. We had some really good night ops. Could have been better, but it's only because we didn't bump into more Op4. But but again, it happens, mate. Unfortunately, it happens. But on the, like you said, mate, I agree with you. On the whole, it was a really good all-round, rounded event. Yeah,
I think for me, if there is sort of people's hesitation in comparison to what else is out there in the market to go and do an SEO, I highly fucking recommend it. I think it is a step beyond what else is out there at the moment. And I really think they're building to something that is super unique. I wouldn't mind having a quick bash at Op4 at some point, but I think to do that and to go forward for them, they probably need to be a little bit more selective about their audience or their punters that show up. And that would be my only feedback, really. And again, none of this is hidden. I love Terry. I sort of spoke to him about what I think, of the event. I would always be very open on these debrief sessions as to what I think. I'm not fucking being paid to be there. So at the end of the day, there's no obligation for me to not say what I think. But I was super impressed. And I think going forward, if they continue this kind of growth of what they're trying to organically do, and they keep that really strong core team, I think a slight change in audience and maybe a more control at Imperium and less influence from the external parties, I think they've got something super fucking awesome.
Yeah,
highly
definitely.
recommend it. You know, if I can't get to the next one, but you guys can get there, go with the right attitude and enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. Before we wrap this up, right, best bit of kit this weekend and a bit of kit that you didn't need to take.
Okay, so I didn't need to take this, although I wanted to run it out, but I didn't get to take it. I did take it, but I didn't get to use it. So bringing this with me was a bit of a wasted time. Best piece of kit is probably this. It's probably this. This is the Goons Gear recorder, fitted straight onto the nods. I've never really tried to use a nods recorder before, but yeah, this. It's pretty much the one that you've got, but it's in a 3D printed case. It's got a nice little attachment screw and stuff on there. Literally slid it straight onto the nods, turned it on, boom, ready to go. So yeah,
nice. That looks nice.
What about you, mate? Yeah, other than John's medic tabs. I had it dripping all over me all weekend. Thank you so much, John. Fucking epic job.
Mate, everyone wants me to turn my Instagram back on.
Don't do it.
All right, I won't. Tim has spoken. For me, mate, it's a real tough one because I'm torn between the Opsman M32X, which were super comfy all weekend. Obviously, the amount of bangs that were going off, protecting my little lugholes, which was nice. And when I didn't want them on, mate, just boom, flick them off, put them up as you can see, as you can see them now. You know, put them up like that, and you're good to go. You know. But again, this combined with the tac mic from JCI, I little click the red button, and all the audio comes out the tac mic then. So I don't need these down. I can have either or, you know. So I'm going to say this is probably my best bit of kit, the Opsman M32X.
Nice.
Bit of kit that I didn't need. What I wish I would have used is my Bluetooth adapter for the CT5 tac mic, so I can have some music on the go. Yeah,
it was good. Like I say, I'm super impressed. Really enjoyed it. Overall fun level, and the guys I got to roll with, Jono, Jordan, Robson, John, just Connor, Reese, just rolling with the lads. One was seriously funny. My favourite picture of John, which is going to be, you know, my home screen for eternity, is just John having the most fun in his entire life, which was amazing. It's still the best photo ever. Look, I'm keeping it on my phone. Is how happy John was when I shot people with an MG40.
Amazing.
But yeah, super enjoyed it, and can't wait for the next one. Really excited to see what Terry does moving things forward.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see what direction they go in, because we've seen a few companies try and always do something bigger, do something better, bigger, better, more toys, more bangs, more vehicles, more this. Sometimes less is more. As you know, way back. Obviously, we did Op Snake Bite with Tier 1, and then that was a big rural op, very heavily, you know, sort of ground focused, you know, camo paint, you know, shitting in a bag, that kind of stuff. But then you went to the other side of the next event was Blade Runner, which was surveillance, you know, and counter-terrorism. Very minimal, very few numbers, and you just think, whoa, what a contrast, you know. So who knows? What
would I guess, based on the question you just asked me, what would be your kind of 2 pieces of feedback? Like, continue doing something, stop doing something else. If you could feedback to SEO and said, right, okay, what should we continue? What should we stop? It's a really tough question, but
no, because you know what? Let's try and answer a question with a question in the fact that if they had no limitations Okay, let's just put that as a parameter. They had no limitations. I would say fuck every site off thrown out, every site owner off out of it, right?
Yeah.
Because when SEO and Sam and Liam, like the Black Mountain guys, are left to run an event, what I could see in their section was big boy rules, get on board or go home, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which me and you are all about that. It was everyone else around them that dumbed it down. So I would say get rid of the site owners if possible. Again, this is all just, you know, and try and I know a lot of, because of where they were, they took a lot of the Imperium customer base, where perhaps the Imperium customer base is not built for that event. So I would say try and tailor your customer base if possible. So don't invite everyone. Be elite.
I like it. I mean,
Eat meat.
Don't need any more than that. Be elite.
Eat meat. Don't smell feet.
I like it. I think, you know, again, talking SEO, really, again, can't wait for the next one. Great work by Terry. Thanks to Sam, Liam, and Mikey, and all the rest of the guys that got involved. I haven't seen the Psionics footage yet. I'm super excited about that. So we do have a ton. We have a ton of footage. Looking forward to seeing that. I obviously have a little bit more night vision footage. Obviously, you've seen the majority of that. We're going to splice that in with Richie's helmet cam footage. We have got a lot of stuff coming down the road in the future. We're working on a lot of, well, we always say this, but we really have got a lot of shit coming. So we're hoping to set Vanta very soon. I've got a few DMs about it. I've seen it. So we are. I mean, me and Richie are on a working session this weekend. We're shooting media and working on Vanta. So that will be the next thing to come down the pipe, and then trying to get out to shoot. Yeah, I mean, super excited, mate. Obviously, we've been busy the past few weeks anyway, past 4 to 6 weeks, working on stuff, building up to this. So, you know, we've got, you know, Tim's got new kit, I've got new kit. I've just landed a new first spear plate carrier. Tim's got his K19. Obviously, we've both landed the Warhead brushless motors, which are phenomenal. Yeah, I could not believe the difference that made in the Mark 46 to trigger response. So, but anyway, videos to cover that. Yeah. Obviously, we've got the. I know I'm going to show it just because I love flexing on people. Look at it. It's what he's going for. You can see it. Yeah, boy. Go on. I love it. We do have the FCS 152 and KDU. Now, there are only 2 of these in the UK. And there will only be 2 of these in the UK for the next year, 10 months to a year, because they made a small batch. This is a beta version. So let's flip this bad boy on. I was going to say, is the other guy that's Harris, got mate, one? Look. Is the other guy cool that's got one? But then I just remembered who it is. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so it's anyone that doesn't know what this is basically a full remote control for your 152. You can do programming, pretty much anything you want to do from this. PTs, setting all of the settings for the radio, absolutely everything. So speaking of the guy that knows, obviously this is the way you program and you operate this is so close to the real version. It's a joke, mate. There's some stuff on here, some settings on here that if you don't know what you're doing, you can really, really mess it up. Anyway, but again, you know, we've got more products coming. We've got, so like I say, this weekend we're uber busy. We've got a couple of business meetings. We've got working on Vanta. We've got filming to do. Yeah. Yeah, we have got a couple of meetings. I'm hyped about that. We also have been given, and obviously we'll throw this out there, a full set of targets by the guys over at Attack Sense for us to use. If you haven't seen the Attack Sense stuff, they are essentially a programmable target that senses impact And off the back of that impact, all of it connects up to an Android tablet. And off the back of the tablet, you can play all different games, you can do drills, you can do all sorts of stuff. Thank you very much to Attack Sense. We know it's taken them a little while, but they have got literally a full set shipped to us. We got it last week. And are hyped about getting out and having a bit of a go with that. Combine that with some of the other stuff and the other toys that me and Richie have in the bag and coming soon. We will be putting some stuff together for you guys to come down and have a play too. So Taxen's stuff's going to be coming, reviews on the Agilite, the RNVG recorder. We also need to flash out a video about this. This little thing, especially now it's got its brushless motor in. So yeah, lots and lots of shit happening.
Yeah. Excited, very excited. But yes, I think importantly, first on the list is Vantar. We need to get that. We need to get the boys back together.
We do, yeah. Again, people have been asking what Vantar's going to be. Is it training? Is it event? Is it whatever? For all of the people that are subscribed, that are paying subscribers, you will be coming down to the site for free. And we will be providing an afternoon/evening of entertainment for you off the back of THG. So don't you worry about that. So if you're a paying subscriber, if you're one of your guys with the gold badge next to your name, don't worry, you'll be coming down for an eventful night of THG excitement. And we will leave that with you guys. So looking forward to having all you guys down and getting out and having a shoot soon.
No worries. Right.
Time
for another beer.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for signing in and checking us out and hearing what we had to say about the SEO op. Again, super enjoyed it. Go and check out SEO. You can check them out on Facebook. SEO Airsoft. Is that right? Mikey?
No, SEO Milsim.
Or SEO Milsim. Check them out over on Facebook and see what they've got coming up. Obviously, hopefully, BLACKROCK II.
Yeah, boy. Right. Peace out.
See you later, everyone. Peace. Goodbye.